Hey guys, what's up? It's Dane at ZIMM'S Guitars, and this Epiphone custom Flying V just came in. Let's put some strings on it. The strings are old. I restring all my guitars every time something comes in used. And so let's put a set of strings on it. I think today we are going to put on some Ernie Ball Primo Slinkies, and these are 9.5 through 44s, so let's go throw some strings on this thing. So what we're looking at today is an Epiphone, and it looks like a Flying V. I don't have any of the stats in front of me or anything, but it has the little custom plate up here. You got block inlays and the cool Epiphone headstock, but you can see some of the strings got a little something on them. They started to rust or something. They're in pretty bad shape. Let's restring this thing up. Okay, so I got the strings off, and these fret ends are a little bit sharp, so I'm just going to take just a few seconds and sort of kind of hit a couple of these frets and just try to smooth them out a little tiny bit. Because when people come into my shop and they strum a guitar, I want these babies to feel nice, and I want them to be like, whoa, this thing plays good. So I always put a little extra effort into making these fret ends feel really nice. That's one of the most important things to me when strumming a used guitar. This one is in really good shape. I think this thing is almost brand new. If I look at the serial number here, so some of you guys might be able to help me with this serial number here. So it looks like it has a second. It's stamped a second right there. And then it has a newer serial number there that starts with 3117 something. But I don't know how to date the year of this guitar. But it is a second for some reason. So if we look it over really closely, maybe we can find why they would call this one a second. Yeah, but the sticker that they put on there looks real cheesy. I'm tempted to pull it off, but it doesn't do you any good to do things like pull stickers off and try to hide. You know, you see right here where it's got the Made in Indonesia tag. It doesn't do you any good to try to pull those stickers off. It doesn't do you any good to sand over a serial number. Unless, you know, when I see a serial number that's been sanded over, I just think it's because it's stolen and somebody's trying to get it to go through a pawn shop because, you know, they need serial numbers, right, to get stuff to go through pawn shops. So that's what I always think every time I see something where the serial number has been removed. I think the guitar has been stolen, and people steal guitars because, you know, guitars are kind of, in a way, they're kind of a good investment. People steal guitars because they hold their value. And, you know, that crazy thing about Gibson wanting to sell stock in their own guitars because they think in 10 or 20 or 30 years the value of that guitar is going to go up significantly, and then they're going to, you know, be able to sell stock in that. That's the craziest thing I ever heard. But it is true. Like I was saying, I don't know if an Epiphone is going to go up in value. You know, there used to be pretty steady guitar prices there for years and years. In 2008, when the economy crashed, then guitar prices fell down too. But then they came back up, but they never really hit what they were before 2007 until this COVID hit, and now guitar prices have skyrocketed. But, you know, I think they're starting to level off. And I think they're starting to get back to normal. And guys, honestly, a lot of my guitars that I have hanging on the wall here, they're still at pre-COVID pricing. I'm not going to do that where I'm going to start jacking prices up based on, you know, COVID. I don't want to do that. The only thing I've done, the only guitars that I've jacked the price up a little bit are my Made in Mexico Strats. I used to sell those things a couple of years ago for, you know, $350, maybe $400 for a really nice one. But now I sell all those Made in Mexico Strats at, you know, $450 to maybe $500. But all the other stuff, all the other guitars that I've sold lately, I'm still trying to stick to pre-COVID pricing, man. I don't want to capitalize on shipping shortages and, you know, crazy stuff like that. I want to keep it fair for my customers. So I'm just going to put a little bit of fret oil on that to shine that up. Fretboard conditioner. But this one is in really good shape. Even though it is stamped a second. Now that could mean that something in the binding is off, or that could mean that there's been a scratch in it somewhere. And it also could mean that, I doubt that something's wrong with the electronics. So my best guess is when something gets a stamped a second, it's because there's a finish flaw. And most of the time at a used guitar shop, there's a lot of guitars that already have dents and scratches and scrapes. So let's see. This is just going to go in real here, super easy. And after I get all these strings on here, then I'm going to set the action on this thing and try to make sure that this thing plays good. I noticed that it still has the plastic over top of the pickguard. It still has plastic over the truss rod cover. So like new condition, and this guitar does have a case that comes with it. Guys come in and they're asking me, hey, will you sell me a case? And there's a lot of times where I don't like to sell cases by themselves, because then you'll have a nice guitar and you need a case for it, but you went and you've already sold the case. So a lot of guys come in and ask me for cases, and I have to tell them, no, I'm sorry, don't have any cases for you right now. All the really nice guitars, they need to have a case that goes with them. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by selling cases. Used cases, you know, because you're going to need those things. The tuners feel really solid. Looks like we got Grover tuners on there. So they do. They feel really good. Yeah, I've said it a couple of times. These Snark Tuners, you know, you talk about all these guitar product innovations over the last 20 years. I'm going to say the Snark Tuner is probably the #1 most useful guitar gadget that has been created in the last 20 years. Everybody needs a Snark nowadays, and everybody uses them. And I even hear they got brand new ones that you can charge them up. They're getting better and better as the years go by too. So let's see here. String height at the 10th, 12th fret. It looks like 2. 2.25. So the string height is really high. So let me get a screwdriver. I'm just going to lower the bridge a little bit, because it is way up there. Yeah, for some reason this side was really, really high. Let's take a look at that. It still needs to come down. That looks better. Turn that back up a little bit. I think the best thing to do when you're setting up a guitar for somebody is to just sit and play the thing for a little while. Yeah, you know, the thing about the Flying V's though, it's a hard guitar to play when you're setting down. I know some of them have the rubber pad right here on the bottom that kind of sticks to your leg, but you got to kind of do the Michael Schenker thing and kind of leave it between your legs like this. So this guitar is stamped a second, but in a lot of ways, I think at least they have quality control where they're looking the stuff over, and for some reason they determined that this one is a second, so they've gone ahead and priced it accordingly, and they put that tag on there. And again, I don't think they would stamp something a second because of electronic problems, because that could easily be fixed. I doubt that it's got anything to do with the fretwork, so it's most likely there's a little scratch in it or something straight out of the factory, and they didn't like that. Kind of keep tuning it up here. I do kind of stretch the strings like this sometimes, just to get them. Yeah, because I just stretch out a whole half a step down. So there's your E right here. Let's try to test the intonation. Tiny bit flat. No, there it's showing it's in tune. 12th fret, you just check your intonation, you just hold it down at the 12th fret. Showing a little bit flat. So when it shows flat, you have to bring the saddle forward. So let me see if I can do that real quick on this thing. There we go. So if a guitar's not intonated right, you hear a lot of guys saying, what's the deal with intonating a guitar? What happens is you can tune all your strings, but if your guitar is out of intonation, when you hit a chord, it'll kind of sound wavy and it'll just sound out of tune. Alright guys, well, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I even got the Patreon account going nowadays too, if you guys want to join. So everybody have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.